looking at new Discbine, and Robert, you were telling me that this comes in a 13-foot cut and a 16-foot cut, right? That's right. We have two new models this year, the 13 and the 16-foot cut. I like to refer to them as the 300 series, but we actually call them the 313 and the 316. They're going to be new for us this year. As we can look at one on display here at the show, we're showing the 13-footer, and that's going to come with a swivel hitch. We're going to offer it with a drawbar swivel or a 2-point swivel. And if you're looking back through here, you'll see this is my hydraulic lines that go across this nice large tongue. We redesigned our tongue, and the lines are steel lines for durability, and they're mounted on top so you can get to them. So there's easy access to those. You can see how they go across the top of the tongue here, and they're secured away. The drive line, of course, takes the power back to the trail frame. Right in front of that trail frame, you've got a gearbox right there, and then there's a lower gearbox that sends the power down. And this machine is shaft-driven cutter bar. And that means that the power comes down and down this output shaft here to this gearbox right here. Power is taken to this gearbox right here and transmitted down to the cutter bar. So that's neat. There's no belts back here on this machine. Now, let's sneak on around here and I'll show you a little bit more, okay? Just one quick stop here at the spring. This is how we hold our cutter bar flotation. We put a little spherical ball under here to take the stress off of this hardware in this area right here. This is just a trail frame right here. And let me show you that we've redesigned the way that this geometry is right here, so that the pivot point's right here. If you hit an obstruction, then the cutter bar goes back and rearward. Up and rearward at the same time. So that's good there. This has got a sleek little opening right here. This is the belt that sends power down to the cutter bar. And you can actually see that it's HB4 banded B belt there. It's easy to get to, and there's a strut holding that in place there. Let's sneak on back here to the back. We made these a little bit longer here. They're now about 47 inches longer. Let's go to the back of this thing, and I should point out right here that the tongue pins in right here above the trail frame, and there's a pin that drops in when that goes into place. Let's go to the back. I can lay down a wide swath with my new wide dry rollers that you can see. Those are the conditioning rolls. And then there is a swath board that's adjustable. You can see the black handle there on the adjustment lever. I can take that down to change that. Let's go on around here. Now we're at the other side of the machine. There's a gearbox right in here, and it's going to send power from the bottom roller up to the top roller there. So it's enclosed there. I still can adjust my roller gap just like I've always been able to on the new Holland Discbines with my hardware right there. I have that on each side of the machine. Still have the torsion bar suspension that's been around with us for a while. The great thing that I'm trying to hurry to is these new doors. You know that you won't dent these doors, and they're bifolding, and that means there's two hinge points here, and with a bifolding door you can get to the cutter bar regardless of the position of the tongue. That is really neat, because sometimes when you hit an obstruction and you need to get to that cutter bar area, then you had to stop the machine regardless of where the tongue position was. So that is a real benefit right there. Now let's go under here and take a look under the hood, if you will. I took the cutter bar components that are used on the self-propel windrower and put them on this pull-type unit. With doing that, what I've really done is given the farmer a cutter bar that's got a lot bigger components. These are the components that go into that windrower, and we gave this a name. We call it Momax 2. With that design, we're able to drive from only one side of the cutter bar, and that's why we're driven with a shaft on one side. We don't have to drive from both sides, and there's no belts. Now this is called the turtle shell commonly, but it's the top over here, and it's a different shape too. It's called a profile, a low skirt design. It's lower. This is the
rock guard and there's a skid shoe under there. This is elongated out a little bit. It actually cuts, making a larger arc. And because it cuts a larger arc, you can cut lower without tilting the bar. And it still has the hub protection. Shock Pro hubs are right underneath these 4 bolts right here. The rollers is the big thing. This is where there should be a drum roll. Folks, these rollers are now wider. They're so wide we gave them a name. We call it wide dry. They went from 102 inches to 125 inches wide. What that means is on this cutter bar, you can actually have more of the crop going back, and you can have more of it actually getting conditioned by the rubber rollers, because more of the crop comes into contact with the rollers, you see, and there's no crop convergence. We don't have co-rotating knives on the cutter bar because the rollers are now literally the whole width of the machine. So that's a great thing too. So with the redesigned tongue, two hitch options, the wide dry system, and the new cutter bar with Momex 2, you can see that there's a lot to talk about.